And with an outstanding 30-20 victory at home against the division rival Minnesota Vikings in Week 18, the Detroit Lions are set to head into the postseason on a high note. Guys, we really reached for the stars this year, came away with an NFC title, and this tied the best record in Lions history. We sent 5 players to the active Pro Bowl. And honestly, we're just hitting on all of our draft picks. It's been an amazing year. It's been a wild ride. But now we turn our eye to the postseason. Uncharted waters, like the Franklin expedition before us. The Detroit Lions, kings of the North, head out to an unfamiliar situation. 30 years since the Lions had a home game. Never before has a home playoff game been hosted at Ford Field until now. This week, win or go home. This week, we put a lot of things to bed. If we win this week against our former franchise quarterback, this week could mark the start of a long run for the Detroit Lions, you guys. I'm Hat and Beard. This is the Hat and Beard Show. Today, we're going to be discussing the Week 18 matchup that was the Detroit Lions against the Minnesota Vikings. Let's get into it, fellas.
We're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
All right, hey there, guy. Welcome back. I'm Hat and Beard. I'm here to say the quiet part out loud. And around here, we're going to talk about our beloved Detroit Lions. Guys, Week 18 was a great game. It was a little shaky at points. Nick Mullins looked to be doing decent until the fourth quarter when the return of our veteran, who had been chirping at some of the players that he wasn't going to take a rotationary role. He wanted to lead the way, let all the guys who haven't been to a Super Bowl follow him, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's been there before. He knows what he's doing. And just like Ifeatu Melifonwu did Week 16 against Minnesota, in the fourth quarter, Nick Mullins threw into traffic, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson came away with a game-sealing interception. It couldn't have come at a better time, and it couldn't have happened to a more storyline-driven player. It just was a nice little exclamation point on the narrative that is the C.J. Gardner-Johnson situation in Detroit. We'll talk more about him in the offseason, especially if Aaron Glenn ends up taking a head coaching job somewhere. But this game had a lot of ups and a lot of downs. Some of you might have been thinking, why was Motor City Dan Campbell even letting his starters out on the field, risk of getting injury? We've seen Sam LaPorta go out with a knee injury, as well as Khalif Raymond, one slightly more impactful than the other. However, I have to side with Dan Campbell on this. Look, guys, the last couple weeks have been a little sloppy for us, all right? We needed to clean some things up before we headed into a postseason push, especially considering the caliber of talent that we'll be facing in the NFC playoffs, especially when you think about Matt Stafford coming to town next week. But Dan Campbell, I think, was right to play his guys. Look, if you wanted to get off the field, if you wanted to have some time off the rest of the game and let the subs get in there and get a few reps, you should have played better. You should have put the game away in the first half. You should have came out and taken care of business. Instead, as the Lions have done periodically this season, we played with our food and allowed our opponent an opportunity to amass a win at the back end. Our defense again showcased that no matter what you do, the player that we absolutely need to stop will dominate us, with Justin Jefferson again torching our defense. But to be fair, Justin Jefferson absolutely destroys the Lions, not only every time he plays them, but specifically at Ford Field. The man is a monster, and I would have to say probably is the best wide receiver in the game, and that's saying a lot considering it takes a lot for me to get off the Amon-Ra St. Brown hype train. Amon-Ra shows up, does what I've been saying he didn't do all year long, almost as if Amon-Ra might be watching this channel. But the Lions offense went ahead and gave him a big splash play. Not only did he rack up 7 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown, but he had that monster, I think it was like a 70-yard bomb, where he caught it, and then it's what Amon-Ra does after the catch that made it so electrifying. He's not necessarily the fastest man on the field, but he understands angles and he understands the physics that he needs to bend his body around. He can compensate his speed, decelerate in time so that there isn't so much of a change of direction, point, and pivot on his joints when he decides to split the tackle and motor his way into the end zone through 2 defenders across the goal line. That was awesome to see. Aiden Hutchinson getting into the double-digit sacks this year. It was right up to the very end, bud. It was right in the last game, but he ended up pulling off 2 sacks in this game, giving him, I think, 10.5 on the season. Again, though, Aiden Hutchinson's production has come from his dominant pressure rate that he gets on opposing quarterbacks. And this game we've seen the importance of a second player with him. Obviously, we did run a tremendous amount of blitzes, which I do like to see because although it puts our secondary guys out on an island with our corners, we do have the safeties to kind of help make up for it a little bit. It also makes Aiden Hutchinson look a little bit better. However, we have to tip our hat to Aleem McNeil coming back off of the IR. I'm starting to think that with the way he was producing and moving, we might have probably could have gotten him back a week or 2 earlier, but the Lions opted to put him on IR and just let him get good and rested. Obviously, with a knee injury in the position that he plays, it's not something you want to mess around with, but it also gave him a 4-week reprieve to get healthy, to get back up to speed, and to be completely re-energized to make a postseason push. And as stated before, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was back and looked like he hadn't missed a beat. Honestly, the guy was out there flying around, making tackles, making interceptions, and making big hits when he needed to. I liked what I seen out of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It allowed Brian Branch to be more impactful when he was on the field because you have just, again, such a just massive rotation of safety and nickel cover guys that can come in and play both of those positions with now C.J. G.J. and Brian Branch, as well as 2 electrifying safeties with Kirby Joseph and Ife Melifonwu. Again, that does suck for Tracy Walker. You feel bad for the guy. He's been here for a long time. Had to come back from that Achilles injury that he had a couple years back there. And, it's just rough. You don't like to see it. But at least he's being man enough to understand his role. I haven't seen too much of him chirping at anybody on like the socials or vague booking or anything like that. So he's taking it on the chin like a man and understanding his role to help elevate the younger players around him. And maybe that is to our benefit. I would like to think yes. Sam LaPorta got his 10th touchdown of the season. You love to see it. You hate to see the knee injury. I haven't checked on it recently, but last I knew it wasn't as bad as it looked, but still pretty serious. He might be missing more than just this week if we win, which is not what you want to see because we were already a little shallow at tight end with Brock Wright being out and having to roll with James Mitchell. James Mitchell did, though, have a nice catch stretching out wide on his fingertips there to secure the first down there for us midway through the game, obviously, after LaPorta went out. And then you've seen Dan Skipper having to come in and play that tight end position a little bit more. It's not necessarily what you want to have heading into the postseason. You'd like to have your Pro Bowl rookie tight end a full go, but that knee injury, and we all know how the Lions like to be safe with guys and really don't like to push them back from injury too much. And then Khalif Raymond, that is going to hurt in the return game, though we do have depth at return guy spots. Craig Reynolds can handle punt return duties as he's been doing with kick return duties, as well as Khalil Dorsey can step in and return the ball when needed to. Actually, if you recall, he was kind of our return guy early on in the season before Leaf really took over and exploded, and he was incredibly dominant this game, both in special teams and on the offensive side of the ball. So you don't like to see that. However, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you guys wanted Dan Campbell to sit all his starters, that means that Khalif Raymond is going to be getting run anyway. He's not a top wide receiving option. You see him sit down J-Mo. So J-Mo was already taking a breather. Amon-Ra got dinged up, but Amon-Ra is tough. He's going to come back. You've seen us exercise some of our depth pieces with Donovan Peoples-Jones, Josh Reynolds. Shout out Josh Reynolds. Look, he was so close to 2 contract bonuses. He needed 36 yards to hit a $250,000 bonus on the season, and then he needed 1 more touchdown to hit another $250,000 bonus. So he had a $500,000 game on his hands there with bonuses. Obviously, you've seen Jared Goff try and throw him a touchdown midway through the second quarter or third quarter. Tried a couple times to get Jay Ray that touchdown for his contract bonus. Came up short. Couldn't quite get there, but he did get the yardage. He finished with, I think, 44. What do we have here? Let's take a look at Jay Ray's receiving yards. Yeah, 5 for 44, so he hit his yardage bonus. So cheers to Josh Reynolds getting that $250,000 bonus on his production. shout out to you. That was good to see. Defensively, we need to figure out how to clean up tackles, though, you guys. We are missing way too many tackles, and it is far too late in the season for us to be missing this many tackles. Yeah, you could say Alex Anzalone's thumb, not being able to secure wrap-up tacklers with the injury and the pins that he has in it. But I'm seeing Jack Campbell not necessarily make the cleanest tackles. Again, Anzalone's trying to hammer guys instead of wrap up. I'm just needing you guys to secure the ball handler and not see him shuck tackles, or at least you guys need to start gang tackling a little bit better. That can be coached up. Hopefully things get right, because we do have a formidable opponent in the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, they're 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, and 3 years removed from the Super Bowl, from winning the Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, and now it's just getting weird. Tell me the NFL isn't scripted without telling me the NFL isn't scripted. All right, Matt Stafford and the LA Rams are coming to Ford Field to square off against Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions for the first home game at Ford Field, the first home playoff game in the Motor City in over 30 years. Tell me the NFL isn't scripted. That it has to be Matt Stafford. Like, I'm a little torn here, guys. I'm a little torn. I mean, I'm not going to root for Matt Stafford, but it's hard to root against Matt Stafford, all right? I'm a Jared Goff guy. I love Motor City Dan Campbell. I thought that Brad Holmes did a fantastic job of getting the maximum total value out of an aging asset to the right situation. Everything was perfectly struck. Even though the Rams did get a Super Bowl out of it right now, as it sits, the Lions are poised to just build and build, and it all started with the pieces they got from the Matt Stafford trade. So the question I have for you, comment down below, who actually won that trade? Yeah, I know the Rams have a Super Bowl, but the Lions are in the playoffs. Jared Goff is solid, and all those picks are starting to turn out for us. I mean, it's just Brad Holmes knows how to draft guys, and the fact that he got so many picks and was able to maneuver around and utilize them to get the best talent available for our team, not just the best talent available, but the best talent available for our team out of those picks, is just awesome. You just absolutely love to see it, which is why I do kind of give credence to the Lions have at least neutralized that trade deal. The Rams haven't outright won it. I mean, it's getting to be more fair and fair. And I mean, if the Lions win a Super Bowl, then it's clearly we won that trade. But let's not start counting our ducks before they're chickens and get out over our skis here, fellas. We need to enjoy this victory. I don't have much else to say here. This is just going to be a kind of a quick one, get it up and down and out to you guys, because I'm trying to upload more, even though it's a little frustrating, and it's very cold out right now. But hey, it's a lot warmer now than it's going to be next week. You guys, make sure you got your parkas and your packs on so that you stay warm out there. And if you're really feeling froggy and want to warm yourselves up next week, go ahead and watch some documentaries out about the exploration of Antarctica. That'll make you warm right up when you think about them cats being out there in tents in the early 1900s in sub 40 degree temperature, like negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's insane. That's what I've been doing. I've been watching videos on big ships, you guys. So all right, that's going to do it for me. That's all I really wanted to say. I was happy to see the victory. I would have liked to see a little bit more Hendon Hooker, maybe even just to take a kneel down, but that's neither here nor there. We got the victory, 12-5 on the season. It's been an amazing regular season, you guys. We've taken leaps and bounds in places I didn't think we were going to. We were stagnant in other areas, and we have a lot to talk about with some deficiencies in the offseason, but we're not here to think about that right now. We're here to bolster our team and get ready for a huge playoff game. Sunday night, prime time. Let's frickin' go, fellas. That's going to do it for me. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Keep your stick on the ice. If it doesn't find you handsome, at least you'll find you handy. Frig off.